It has been a trying time, a transformative time at the Ryam James household. This last month I haven't posted because just big life stuff has been happening. We lost our Oscar dog. You saw a small clip of him there on the very last walk we took him on. He was 15, um, so he'd reached a ripe old age, but he was deaf and going blind, and his back legs were going, and he was in pain, and he was beginning to really suffer. And I probably held on to him for a few more weeks than I should have, but I find it hard to let go anyway, and I wanted to make sure that we were, I'd given him every chance at life I could. But it's only been 3-4 weeks now. His bowl is still on the floor, and his bed hasn't been packed up. I can't bring myself to do any of that stuff yet. I'm still actively in my grief. On top of that, an auntie of mine also passed away. I will admit we weren't very close. She was one of my mum's old best friends, so I kind of grew up with her. But her and my mum hadn't been friends or close in each other's lives anyway for decades, so it was more a more allowing who I was to say goodbye as well, rather than any sort of active level of grief on my part, in all honesty. And then on top of that, I also turned 45, which is strange. It's a big life reviewy kind of time right now, where my mortality and mortality itself and all of these kind of things are being brought to the surface, and I'm having time to metabolize and to really get into what I think on these subjects. Now, for those that don't know, my day job is pretty much dealing with grief. I work as a medium, and have done so for the last 30 years. So understanding the process of transition and all that sort of stuff is very just second nature to me. But that doesn't mean going through the process doesn't have its own challenges. In that aspect, having all the knowledge in the world does not prepare you for the weight of the emotional metabolizing of that entire experience. So for that, I know the best thing to do is just to keep going and to show up for grief when it comes knocking, and to let yourself feel whatever you need to feel, and to just do your best to stay in routine, so that when grief has had its way with you, you can pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and there's something to do, ready before the next wave. So I haven't been doing that much art. I've still been doing little bits, but I just haven't been that focused on it for obvious reasons. But now that the momentum or the hammers that have fallen have actually fallen, that seems to have passed a little bit. Now I can sort of dig into the routine and just let my body and my emotions do what they need to do. And art has always been a massive meditation for me, and a massive part of how I process everything. And I don't think necessarily the work I do always visually represents what I feel, or visually represents what I'm going through. Although, in honesty, there have been times when I look back at certain themes that I've been drawn to, and it makes sense in hindsight. So, like, there was a time when I was just non-stop drawing scars and wounds on people's faces, and in hindsight I think I was trying to highlight to myself how scarred and wounded I felt at the time. So there are certain symbols and things like that when I was drawing a lot of paper planes, they seem to represent a time in hindsight, a time in my life when I was trying to find that childlike joy. But anyway, we are back at the canvas. Back at the, well, not so much a canvas this week as another little watercolor piece. I'm quite fond of doing these. They're nice, quick, easy, fun, and just a lot of, I can play enough without having to overly worry about too much context, I suppose, or too much. It's just making a pretty image that I like to make. And yeah, so this week it is another Victorian lady, although for some reason I chose to give her lilac or a purple top. And I think that was a mistake. I was trying to go for an opposite colours thing, and I think I should have matched it more tonally, but it's watercolour, so it might be a little bit harder to correct than I thought. But we are getting there. I do want to also branch out into gouache, at least with some of these pieces, to see if I can get something a bit more textured, something a bit more layered. My acrylic pieces are sort of taking a massive backseat at the moment because I'm just figuring out how to capture them without actually having to set up all of the tripod and work in front of a camera all the time. But that's for a future piece. I do have a whole list of things I'm going to be doing, but hopefully after this week I should be back into slightly better routine when it comes to uploading my longer videos. The shorts and the reels seem to be having much more reach that I think is more symptomatic of the app rather than anything that I'm doing or not doing. And to be honest, I think there's something's going on with YouTube's algorithm right now, because a lot of my artist friends are feeling this sort of huge stagnation that's happening. But all you can do is what you can do, and I'm going to keep showing up, and I'm going to keep making, and I'm going to keep healing, and I'm going to keep doing the things that I love to do and enjoying as best I can. If you do have any advice or tips, like I said, I am sort of returning to YouTube after a while away. So if there's anything like that you want to see a bit more of, or have any advice on, then please just let me know. I also need to get a new inking pad because this one literally disintegrated halfway through doing this technique, so that's another little thing. Anyway, this small piece, I don't really have a name or a title for her yet. I'm sort of famously terrible at naming my pieces, so if you have any ideas on that, then feel free to let me know. Do you think she should have a specific name, or maybe she should be part of a series? I'm not sure. But yeah, this is kind of where I'm at right now when it comes to making these small little pieces. I'm just sticking to what I know and to what I enjoy at the moment when I'm coming to share these things, because it's just easier to process. But here she is. Yeah, I have no idea what to name her. But it's been such a big month, I can't think straight. I'm clinging on to a microphone and coffee as we speak. Yeah, but thank you so much for tuning in again, I suppose. Although I shouldn't wrap this video up that soon. I need to get better at this waffle. I should let you know what I've used. It's all watercolors and watercolor pencils. I don't use anything fancy, just most of the stuff I get given off my mother-in-law. She's one of these botanical artists. She's very good at what she does, but she brings me all the bits and pieces that I need, and she's really good at all that kind of stuff. But yeah, here she is. Some white highlights going on in there. I never really got on with gel pens until very recently. They never quite worked for me. I preferred the Poscas, but all of a sudden me and the white gel pen have clicked. Artists have been telling me to use them for a while, but yeah, only now. Ooh, my favourite bit. I'll be quiet. And here she is, all finished. I will be uploading her to my folksy site very, very soon. My website and all my details will be below if you're interested in purchasing her, or if you want me to do a postcard or a sticker or something a bit more affordable. I'm not sure what's happening with postage to America right now, because that situation is a tiny bit above my pay grade. But yeah, if you're interested or have any ideas of what to do with these, let me know. I want to thank you all for tuning in, and if you vibe, please subscribe.